Who will our next generation be? What will they achieve? At Proctor Public Schools, we see great things in the future as we create an environment to educate, engage, and inspire our students to seek adventure, gain knowledge, and make a difference. What do we see in the next generation? We see greatness. Proctor Public Schools. Don't just plan to graduate. Graduate with a plan.
We'll call to order the regular school board meeting of September 27th, 2021. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go ahead with roll call, please.
McDonald.
Here.
Parmeter.
Here.
Peterson. Here. And we know that Amy will not be here this evening. Notified the board. McCormick.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Thank you. Student liaison members, Sidney Hedrick and Sophia Lawrence Swanson. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda is an approval of the agenda. In advance of a motion, I'll note that in Amy's absence, the item that she asked to bring for information and discussion, item number 11F, review the current order of discussion during motions of individual action. She has requested that we remove it and pull it to be brought for discussion on October 11th. So I guess I will entertain a motion to consider that one addendum.
So moved.
There's a motion by Lynn. Is there a second? I'll second. Heard Larry first, if that's okay. Great. Any further discussion regarding that, including the request to remove or pull? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 5 is an approval of the minutes of the regular school board meeting of September 3rd. We did that.
Oh, did we?
Just
Oh,
right
that,
now.
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, I thought we were doing a separate motion for Amy. Sorry.
No, we'll move it.
That's,
All right.
thank you.
You interrupted my cadence.
Sorry. let me move. Sorry.
You ready?
And my mouse is, okay, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so item number 5 is an approval of the minutes of the regular school board meeting of September 13th, 2021. Looking for a motion.
So moved, Joe.
There's a motion by Joe. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Does anyone have any questions regarding those minutes in your packet? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. We'll move on to the finance report. This will include approving the payment of bills dated September 27th, 2021 in the amount of $300,109.52, covering checks 110715 through 110887, and also to approve the electronic transfers and payrolls for August 2021. Electronic transfers totaling $1,561,067.50, and payrolls totaling $1,533,539.49. Looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion. Parmeter?
There's a motion by Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lynn. Does anyone have any questions regarding the finance report tonight? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Moving on to commendations and congratulations. The board would like to commend Amber Lowell for her flexibility, making sure our district services were covered in times of need. We'd also like to extend a thank you to Precision Pipeline of Carleton and their employees for their generous donation of school supplies and monetary donation. The board would like to congratulate Peyton Rodberg for accomplishing 100,000 kills in volleyball. And the board would like to congratulate Bob Priolo for getting all of our buses ready for the start of the school year, and to congratulate both Bob and Tanya, our transportation director, for having 100% of our buses pass our September MnDOT inspection. Are there any other commendations or congratulations that we should attend to tonight? Okay. Moving on then to item number 8, public participation. The school board meeting is a meeting in the public. It is not a public meeting. The public participation portion of our meeting is a time where we offer an opportunity for members of the public to address the board. Once we move from public participation, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the board. As a general rule, the board will listen to members of the public, but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The board will not engage in dialogue, though any board member may ask questions. Please do not include the names of Proctor Public School employees, their title or building location in your remarks for your own legal protection and the legal rights of our staff. Issues related to school district employees can be made in writing and can be directed to the Human Resources Department at Proctor Public Schools. Public comment will not be allowed for situations surrounding recent concerns of student misconduct. As you know, because student and employee data is protected under the Minnesota Data Privacy Act and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, we can't and won't be commenting further on the ongoing police investigation involving our football program. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Speakers may not roll their time to another speaker. Please begin your presentation by stating your name, including the spelling, and who you represent if applicable. In the spirit of fairness to all participants, we request that you respect this format. Thank you for taking the time today to attend this meeting and share your concerns. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to address the board during public participation? Okay. We'll move then and move to the consent agenda, item number 9. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in your packet.
I'll make the motion, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Does anyone have any questions regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? And that motion carries. Moving on to item number 10, items for individual action. Item number A, approve a recommendation from Superintendent Engelking and Business Manager Steve Anderson to certify the proposed initial 2021 payable 2022 levy at the maximum. The Truth in Taxation meeting will be December 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. during the regular school board meeting. We are looking for a motion.
I'll make it, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 10B, approve proposed community education wage increases for coordinators and licensed staff for school years 2021 through 2022 and 2022 through 2023. This new agreement includes a 2% increase in year 1 and a 2.25% increase in year 2. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, Joe.
I heard Lynn, if that's okay.
That is fine.
Perfect.
Yeah. I don't want to get...
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 10C, approve proposed community education wage increases for direct student support services staff for school years 2021 through 2022 and 2022 through 2023. This new agreement includes a market adjustment for year 1 and a 2.25% increase in year 2. Is there a motion?
So move, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 10D, approve a request from Leah Gagne and Gina Mogan, Proctor Middle School Travel Experience, to reschedule the London, Paris, and Rome trip from October 2021 to March 11 through March 18, 2022. This is regarding their trip was postponed by the company as a preface, and so this is kind of a situation that we weren't expecting. I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Kim?
Yep.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lynn. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Leah had phoned and said that she wouldn't be able to attend, but if I had questions, both Lynn and I are aware from conversations regarding the situation. It's kind of out of their hands. They picked the best dates that they could, putting it towards spring break, interrupted with some people's travel plans already. So these are the dates decided.
And just so the board is aware, they will miss a couple of additional days at school, but I think we've all agreed that this is a worthwhile endeavor, and they do a great job. So,
Absolutely, it's a lifetime experience.
yeah,
And like you said, they do an awesome job.
they do. It's amazing.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good dialogue. All right. If there's no more questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed. And that motion carries. Moving on then to item number 11, items for discussion and information, superintendent update. John, if you want to go ahead?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I might suggest that maybe Tanya,
Sure.
well, in the agenda, she's the only one who gets up earlier than me, I think.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just kept moving along. Sorry, Tanya.
That's okay.
Okay. If John defers to you, please come on up. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is number E, transportation update. Tanya Kessler will be at the meeting to address the board.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, I would like to thank my drivers for their dedication to our students this year and their amazing professionalism and ability to work as a team as we got this school year started. We have a great group of drivers, and I'm so proud to be part of it. Our routing is getting better. We are very close now to figuring out exactly who is and who is not riding, and which days of the week and which weeks of the month, and I feel like we have a pretty good handle on it now. It was a little sketchy at first. There was a lot of changes at the last minute, but I think we've got it down. We did have a lot of issues with our internet. As of today, I feel like this afternoon it is fixed, and I can get on the internet without worrying about anything. So DSC did a great job. Ted Keefit, the AV professional back there, loaned me his hotspot for a very long time, and in fact, I still have it at my desk, so thank you, Ted, for that, just in case, but I think we've got it under control. We did have 19 buses inspected last week. We have about 12 more tomorrow. All 19 passed. It was great, and we're expecting to have the 12 tomorrow pass as well. We have received a grant toward a new lift bus, and we're very excited to get that, hopefully this spring. It takes about 5 months to build, I guess. And we are in the process of hiring 2 new, very much needed drivers. They both are already have their CDL, have their passenger and school bus endorsement. One of them is already driving for us, and the other one starts on Friday. So I think that's it. Are there any questions for me?
With the Highway 53 construction settling down, has that helped things for your drivers?
Oh, yes.
I just couldn't
Yes.
imagine. I just went up to Pike Lake once, I'm like, oh dear.
Yeah, it's been very hard to cross. And there's one road in particular, Mike Mercer's route, bus 4, He has been amazing, and he's actually stopped on his own time before and after routes to get updates on which roads will cross 53 and which roads will be closed. And then he lets the other drivers up there know. So, I mean, when I say we have great drivers and they work as a team, I am not kidding. Like, they really do. Yeah, and I guess it's gonna clear up a little bit, coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, it's just starting to open on most of the crosses now.
Yeah, it's been a good week for us.
Good. I know that's been challenging.
Yes.
Great. Board members, any questions or anything for Tanya?
I just say one thing I could say, that when you say you have good bus drivers, I know you do, because I tell you, I mean, there are 5 or 6 times that I went to buy the bus or this and that. They're always waving, and they're always seem to be in a good mood. So I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
You're taking care of them really good.
I've been driving routes and
Yeah.
subbing for things, and
But they stay happy. I mean,
They
they don't have
do.
to wave if they don't want to, but they do.
they love the
It's really
kids.
nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. They really are that good. Oh, I forgot. I'd like to thank Anthony Wood. He donated a popcorn machine to us, and it is a huge hit at transportation. So if you're ever near the building, stop by and I'll make you a batch of popcorn. Be happy to do that.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank
for
you.
everything you and your team do.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's been a really challenging start to the school year, just, with everything, the construction that's going on. And like you mentioned, all the different things with different arrangements with families and which weeks and what days. And it's hard to finesse the perfect fit for things, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, every day gets better.
You know what? It's a beautiful day at transportation every single day. And we'll get through all the not so great parts.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay. All right, I'll defer to John now.
All right, thank you. So I'll just start by talking a little bit and sharing some information about curriculum and instruction. We're doing some things with pathways that are different this year. One deals with an automotive partnership in town here, so we look forward to some of our kids being able to take part in that. We're also expanding our health occupations program, and some of our students will be participating in fall conferences this year. We also are moving into a farm to fork class with the local greenhouse, and I know that our culinary arts teacher, John Martin, is really actively involved in this. So I look forward to that. Sorry about that. This year, our science teachers and elementary science teachers, both secondary and at the elementary, will be piloting and exploring new curriculum resources in preparation for our new science standards that are coming up. And then last but not least, in curriculum instruction, I plan to bring a report on MCAs and ACTs to our next meeting. We got a little bit rushed with that, and I'm sorry that we didn't do it earlier. COVID gets in the way of a lot of things that we do normally on a time period, so we'll have a nice report for you at our next board meeting. As far as management and leadership, I just want to commend Steve for the work he does with in truth and taxation. Steve attended the in-person truth and taxation workshop, and then there was one that was virtual that ARC was putting out that I attended. We also, or I also attended a COVID-19 testing workshop with the Department of Education and the Department of Health. And I'll just tell you that we've applied for a grant. Actually, we have completed a grant to allow us to conduct testing at our school, and we'll finalize the testing program in our Rail Safe plan this upcoming week and share it with our Rail Safe committee. So what we're planning on doing is providing the Q molecular test for faculty and staff to perform themselves. So you can do that swab. And then we will be using the Vault test for students. And students is a Zoom-enabled, again, PCR test. But those are the ones that you collect saliva into a tube and send in. So those are the two tests we were planning on using. We've ordered those tests, so we're excited about the ability of running a testing program and having a place to do it, and the equipment that we need, and it's all part of what the funds that are being provided by that grant. So it's basically about $57 per student is the grant, and so we're just finalizing that budget. We're also reviewing and updating the action plan for our strategic plan, and Gina and I sat down and looked at where we are with our strategic plan. There's a link on our website linking it to where we are right now, and we've added more buttons that say yes, no, in progress. And this really, truly, the more we look at it, the more we think how fluid and truly a plan that's a living document that just continues to provide us some guidance into the future. And so I sent this out to everyone on our strategic planning committee, and we plan on hopefully bringing everybody back together, just at least to talk about where we go next, if we need to refine what some of our goals are, or if we need to look at some of the action plans that are currently in place and moving forward. So I'm sure you can ask a question about that later. Our administrative team met to review web design, marketing, and busing and transportation. One thing that I'm pretty excited about, and that I mentioned in my last newsletter, is Thrill Share, which will be our new digital format for bringing forth information to our communities, both our mobile app, our communications, and how we push out information, and of course our web presence. So excited to see all that moving forward. We plan on rolling out a brand new look in around Thanksgiving time. Facilities and transportation. Steve, Randy, and I met with Jamar to discuss converting steam to hot water and changing some HVAC units. And in addition to that, some of the teachers on the third floor have been complaining about how hot it is on the third floor above my office. And for some reason, since 1939, when that building was built, that has been a hot place to teach. And we now have an opportunity. The floor that we're on, the district office, is air conditioned. So we're going to put air conditioning in that third floor. And so I think that makes sense at this time. Talked a little bit about the MnDOT inspection, and it's always been a bugaboo, how are we going to do with our inspections. I couldn't be more proud of Bob and Tanya getting that job done in the way they did. Tanya also mentioned that we ordered a new bus, a three-wheel bus, and this is grant funded as well through ESSER funds. If you drive by our transportation department and where our bus garages are, we have a new pump that we've been waiting for a long time. It sits on a platform, and honest to God, it's up pretty high. I look at it, geez. So that's brand new, at least the pedestal and where we fill our diesel vehicles. So I'm glad that's finally done. And then I've spoke many times about Agridal Field. Prior to putting artificial turf in, that truly was the holy grail. I mean, it got to be used on Friday night, and stay off it. And some soccer games, maybe. We had to treat that natural grass with kid gloves. When we put that artificial turf in, we knew we'd get expanded use on that facility, and we have. I don't care what season it is, what time of the day. I drove by at 6 o'clock in the morning last week, and the lights were on, and I thought, oh my God, what do you left the lights on? And so I drove over there, and LSC was practicing at 6 o'clock in the morning, lots of fog, and it just goes to show you what a forward-thinking board. Thank you all for your bringing this project forward, because it certainly is used, and it's a great facility. As far as community involvement, the City Council of Proctor approved our SRO contract, which you approved at our last board meeting. They too would like to see a longer commitment to the SRO program and contract the next time we look at it. And then last but not least, WDIO did an outstanding job profiling two of our students, Sydney and Sophia, and their views about vaccines for students. And you guys did just such a nice job on camera. I was very, very impressed. So thank you for doing that. I pulled them out of class. They didn't care. So, I mean, it was a really nice story. So those are some of the things that are going on in my office. Any questions about any of that?
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions at all from anyone else? Okay. Item number 11B, update on COVID-19. Anything to add, John?
Sure. I just want to, again, say we're moving forward with the testing program. Infection rates are moving up. We've asked St. Louis County to give us some kind of indication of when we can dial back masks. And they said at this time they wouldn't make any recommendations. And let's see what happens as this spike surge begins to wane a little bit. I know that there are boosters that are coming out, and then in addition to that, ages 5 through 12 looks like maybe at the end of next month, folks will be able to bring their kids in for vaccinations. And then we're going to be rolling out a dashboard which looks at our sites and our schools and our district, and be able to report district-wide what our infection rates are. So I think that's going to be a big addition to how we monitor and report on COVID cases in our district. Every once in a while, we have a case and we send out a notification letter. It's an exposure letter. So if it happens at a building, like at the middle school, if somebody in 8th grade has a positive case, we send out a notification to the entire middle school, all of our administration, our school board, every one of our directors, and our union leaders. And we let them know that there's been an exposure. And then in addition to that, we contact trace back and let everybody know who may have a close personal contact or a close contact with someone who is exposed, to monitor for symptoms or to quarantine. So that's been going pretty well. Matt Solberg, our new coordinator for COVID, has taken on the contact tracing, and he's got a pretty sophisticated way of notifying kids who may be in close contact. So that's that on those.
And that dashboard is self-reported positives, right?
Well, the dashboard will be a cross between self-reported and what our health department knows that have been confirmed cases.
Okay.
And just with students.
Sure. Any other questions for John regarding that item?
Just a comment, thank you. I think that's going to be great for sharing information, and I think it's a good step as we continue to improve our communication process around all of this.
I'm sorry?
As we continue to improve our communication process around all of this, I think that's just fantastic. So thank you. That's great to hear.
Yeah, it was really cool to see at RailSafe last week. Just, I'm like, ooh, that looks really flashy and
Yeah.
good information shared.
Good, good.
And just, having been, the close contact notification letter gives a very nice and clear algorithm for how to discern whether or not you should be coming to school or not. I mean, it gives you a thumbs up and a thumbs down. It's very, the visual cues are good. I think that's what people wrap their heads around the most and can't wrap their heads around very easily is, what do I do now? And do I have to stay home or what should I do? And they did a really nice job, the team did, putting together a nice flow chart that is much easier to understand than others I've seen. Great. Move on to C, if that's okay. Report on the onboarding process for our employees. John?
So we began onboarding all of our employees so that all the required policies and notifications that our employees are supposed to be handed and given to are all part of the onboarding process. I really think it's going well. I think that I spoke with Lori just at the beginning of this week and asked her how things are going, and she's occasionally reviews that and then sends email out asking people to make sure you finish your onboarding. And everything from our OSHA required bloodborne pathogens to just those required policies that we need to be aware of, like, for example, our internet use policy. So that's moving along really, really well, and Lori's doing a really nice job monitoring that as well.
Do we know how many people have completed?
No, but I can get you a percentage or how many, out of how many. I'll send that out.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Next is interim superintendent discussions. Board members had asked to just bring this back for discussion on how we want to proceed with interim superintendent, if there's other conversations that want to happen. And would anyone like to open conversation?
I would. And I do have a copy of everything I'm going to say for all board members, if they would like a copy to follow along. So, I'll read and I'll stop. And so let me preface my remarks by stating that my statements are not personal. We were all elected to serve all residents of our district, as well as teachers, staff, and students. We all applaud John's willingness to remain interim superintendent for the remainder of the school year. However, we sometimes need to protect people from themselves. If you look at the two job descriptions, I think the logic speaks for itself. We have the superintendent contract, days of service, and his hours, as we all know, are somewhat unlimited. We have the check and connect coordinator, and looking at the contract, it's 181 working days, 8 hours per day. And I realize that is still kind of a fluid, it's not that you're going to clock in at a certain time and clock out at a certain time. Looking at the interim superintendent contract, you'll see the duties were not reduced. However, the salary was cut to 2/3 to offset some other costs. When a new interim is hired, we all understand there may be additional costs as reflected in Steve's Excel spreadsheet. Although the check-in coordinator position has not shifted into high gear, it will soon. I've attached a copy of the Check and Connect Fidelity rubric that I got from their website. As you peruse the document, you will find that this is a full-time job as specified in the contract, which is also in here. It is not possible for anyone to maintain two full-time jobs. In essence, we are telling the public and the district that we no longer need a full-time superintendent, and the district could get by with somebody part-time. This is definitely not the case, nor was it our intention. I've fielded many calls in the past 2 weeks questioning how anyone can do 2 jobs. I can't answer that question. Now, perhaps more than ever, we need a full-time superintendent. In answer to Joe's question at the last meeting, do you propose we hire an interim to replace the interim? The answer is yes. I've done some checking, and it is not uncommon for a superintendent to leave, retire, and then serve as an interim until another person or another interim candidate can be found to finish off the year. The hiring of a permanent superintendent is another issue. I called MSBA regarding interims. There is no need to do an external posting if we feel we have qualified individuals within our district. In some cases, it has been as simple as approaching a qualified individual, having that person submit documentation, and subsequently hiring that person. We have even done that in our district. We should, however, post internally because we are an equal opportunity employer. The MSBA's training scheduled for October 18th, hiring the right superintendent, is not needed for this position. The upcoming training is totally separate and a different process, and I asked this specific question. Make sure if we hire internally, we include the language for that person to return to his or her previous contract. John's current interim contract was crafted using the MSBA interim superintendent contract that you'll find as attachment D. If we wanted to limit internal candidates in any way, we could do this. At the last board meeting, we talked about the important job we have before us, hiring a new superintendent. To hire a new interim now is to free up the board to concentrate on that new hire, which will be the most important thing that we do. To state that only one person can do either the superintendent's job or the check and connect coordinator's job is ridiculous. Everyone is replaceable. We have competent individuals in our district who could fill either job. We have an excellent administrative team at this point. From my knowledge, they work as a team with John, and they are aware of what's going on in our district. John is not going away. He will be working in conjunction with the district to coordinate the Check and Connect program. He could be available as a consultant if need be. We have talked about our strategic plan and revisiting it. This will take a great deal of time, planning, and coordination. We need to use our equity lens in every decision we make and decide how we move forward as a district. That's a huge undertaking, and we need someone dedicated to revising our plan to become a working structural plan for moving our district forward. Once we receive the data regarding our students' current education needs, our administration team and teachers will need to make adjustments to instruction. Our World's Best Workforce Plan will need to be revised to reflect our current needs. This will take leadership and coordination to make it successful. From talking to other individuals who have served as interims, their job has been to create a smooth transition from one permanent superintendent to the next, or to focus on a specific goal. With an internal candidate, this transition can be smoother because there is no getting to know the district, period. We owe it to our students to provide them with the best education Proctor can provide. Students who need additional help and students who need further enrichment. Check and Connect will be a vital link and an important service we can provide for our families and our students. We need a dedicated individual who knows the district and is committed to ensuring we serve our families to the best of our ability. The coordinator oversees the mentors and provides them with essential professional training and development. John will be that conduit, but how can we expect him to do both jobs to the level at which our students and our community deserves? I propose that we form a subcommittee and move forward to post the interim position as described below. The posting would include a start date, a valid superintendent's license, job responsibilities, a request for a letter of interest stating the applicant's qualifications, and a resume. September 30th, the internal posting would be for the interim superintendent for 1 week. October 7th, all applications would be due by noon. October 11th at the board meeting, we discussed the interview committee and set up interviews. October 25th, board meeting, and select a new interim superintendent for November 1st. By the October 11th board meeting, the board should be prepared to discuss the direction of the district for the remaining of the year. Interview questions could be submitted to the subcommittee and approved by the board at the next board meeting. So, it's a lot to think about, it's a lot to digest, but I have spent time just doing that, thinking about what we need to move forward and have both things be successful.
Madam Chair, if I could have the floor for 1 minute.
Go ahead.
If we're going to discuss this any further, I ask that we close the meeting. We're talking about one of our employees with data privacy issues.
I don't know that that is a data privacy issue because John was hired in both positions.
We've hired an employee, and we're going to talk about dismissing that employee and hiring a new
Oh,
interim.
not dismissing, because it says in the contract.
I know what it says in the contract, Lynn, and it refers to until such time that we have a new superintendent.
No,
Yeah.
it says, the contract shall terminate at an earlier date in the event a replacement is hired earlier than that date.
Right.
That just says a replacement.
I was on the individual contract committee, and what we're referring to there is until there is a replacement superintendent hired, a full-time replacement.
It doesn't say full-time replacement,
But that's our understanding in our contract negotiations.
but that's not what it says.
It's not what I voted to approve. So that should have been
You did.
clarified, Joe.
It doesn't say permanent or full-time. It says,
Again, I'm going to ask for the meeting to be closed if we have a discussion about an employee.
Okay. You're asking me to entertain a motion to close the meeting? Okay. So Joe has the motion to close the meeting to discuss a personnel matter. Is there a second? All right, there's a second from Larry. All right. Any for discussion? Yeah, we can. No, we can't, because that's broadcast. We can record it on the voice device like we always do, yeah, that's fine. Okay, sounds good. So there's a motion and a second to close the board meeting to discuss this discussion of a personnel matter. And all those in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
no.
All right. So to verify, we probably should just do a roll call. I only heard 2 noes, but
McDonald,
yes.
Parmeter,
No.
Peterson, no. Podgornick,
Yes.
Shelton,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries 4-2.
Okay, and it's 7:51. Hold on. Would you like me to reference something in particular as I'm closing the board meeting, sir?
Thank you, Jake Benson, Proctor Journal. I was just wondering if you could cite the state statute allowing you to close the meeting?
Offhand, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I can find it.
Thank you.
You're asking for the statute, Jake, it's section 13D.01, subdivision 3.
I think you have to post it like a regular meeting. So we have to give it, what is it, 3 days or 2 days?
3 days.
Madam Chair, I would ask to have Joe withdraw his motion, and I would make an alternative motion that we move forward with a subcommittee to discuss some of the details in Lynn's very thoughtful proposal offline.
Right.
Right.
Okay, no discussion happening. So we need to reopen the meeting. I know,
But if we haven't posted for this, for a closed meeting,
so just to be clear, we've closed the meeting, we've had zero discussion at all. Other than, we probably should reopen the meeting.
That's all you can do.
Okay. I'll make a motion to reopen the meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Larry. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
All right.
Aye. Those opposed?
I guess abstain,
Why would you abstain?
because I voted to not close the meeting.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the correct protocol.
You can vote yes or no, doesn't matter. Okay, 7:54. Meeting's been reopened. So you, and so,
Nothing.
Right. So the meeting
Right.
has been reopened. We closed for a period of time where nothing was discussed. And we've decided to reopen the meeting with an, you had an alternative motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay?
I would like to propose, I would like to make a motion that we form a subcommittee, as Lynn suggests in her proposal, to discuss this in greater detail offline.
There's a motion by Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a second by Lynn. I'll open it for discussion. I'll just say my concern right now is that we would be having a subcommittee that would be, I guess, providing direction on something that should be decided at the board level entirely. Not that there would be a quorum, but that decisions, it's a risk for decisions to be made outside of a board meeting. Any other comments?
They would have to come back to the board with their findings, and the board would have to act on it. You can't, as a subcommittee, post a job, negotiate a job, nothing like
Correct.
that.
Right.
You could come back to the next board meeting and go, here's what I researched found, and then the board would have to act on that, however they chose.
So what,
That's what I would say.
thank you. What would the subcommittee, like all these things right here, if that's if that's the proposal of those things, how do we get to the point where we want to get there? I don't know that we've gotten to that point. Was my kind of, another one question I have.
You couldn't post a job or anything as a committee.
No.
You'd have to come back with some recommendations, and the board would act on yes, let's follow through with that, or no, let's not. That's the process you'd have to take, I believe.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Again, I'd like to stress the fact that we're talking about the parameters of one of our employees' employment. And none of us have the legal knowledge to determine whether we can do anything about that publicly or privately with the subcommittee until we talk to our attorney.
Okay. Further discussion?
Lynn, what if we were to table this? And the reason I think some offline discussion might be okay in a subcommittee, but thank you, Larry. There's some great detail you had shared about that. There's just some questions that I certainly have because I've not seen this before 20 minutes ago. So, but I mean, would you be supportive of tabling it?
Everything that's attached are all things that have been approved by the board. I mean, nothing in here, with the exception of the check and connect fidelity rubric. Everything else was approved by the board.
And what I'm hearing, though, is Joe wants to make sure that we're handling this through the correct legal channel, right?
I believe.
I don't want to...
I'm confused by your statement that everything was approved by the board. What do you mean by that?
The interim superintendent contract is here. The check and connect fidelity rubric I just added. The check and connect coordinator contract. And, the interim superintendent model contract, that's from MSBA. And what it says is an interim superintendent is a temporary employee hired to fill a vacancy for a period of time to a school district, filling the position on a permanent basis, and many school districts hire interim superintendents without the benefit of a written contract. So this is just the model contract that was used to create John's interim superintendent contract.
But not approved by the board? That model?
This model, this is what was used to write John's contract.
Correct.
Yep, and that was from MSBA.
It was used as a model to write John's contract.
Yep.
But John's contract is more pertinent than a model.
Oh, right. But I'm just saying, this is where the language came from. And the word permanent was removed from the model for this one.
So as I understand, we have a motion on the table that is to form a subcommittee, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's where we're at with discussion right now. I guess I'd like to, try to do this correctly, make a subsidiary motion, is that right?
You can amend it.
Okay. I'd like to amend the motion asking for the board to consider whether or not we want to move on this item at all. Does the board wish, my question is, and I'll make a motion that says this, does the board desire to move forward with seeking an alternate interim superintendent? Tasha?
We have...
Clarify.
I think the amendment is normally a modification.
Sure, I was trying to just shift.
I think what you want to do is the board to vote for, vote for against it.
Okay, and then move on to another one. That's fine.
Move on to another vote. What I think you're saying is you're not really amending what they're proposing, you're saying, I want them to do.
Right, and that's what I was trying to, like, that's how I
I
was,
think you need to,
we can vote this, we can vote on this one and move forward, that's fine.
I'm just making a suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for guiding through that. I was trying to shift into that, but So,
So you need to call the question on Kim's motion.
yep. So the motion on the table is, Kim made a motion to form a subcommittee to review the material that Lynn had provided as far as to move forward with posting an interim position as described. And it was seconded by Lynn. Any further discussion or questions? Okay.
I would like to amend my motion
Okay.
to say that we table this entire action until the next board meeting. Any discussion, and just move on.
Okay, so you're
Okay,
withdrawing your
but
motion?
Yeah, you have to withdraw that one before you can make a new one.
Well, can we still form a subcommittee?
If you don't want to form a subcommittee, then you have to withdraw your motion. Or if you don't want it,
Well, I wanted both, the subcommittee and then we end discussion and move forward to the next board meeting.
well, we're having discussion, so I don't know that we can really stop this. I mean, I think we ought to vote on your motion.
Yes, we have to vote on the first
And if you'd
one.
like to withdraw your motion to form a subcommittee, you certainly may.
And should we have some more discussion? I don't know that we're ready to be done with this right now.
I think, not to step out of line here, but I think you need to withdraw it or table it and move ahead with a closed meeting with legal advice. Like Joe says, we have signed contracts that we're bound by. So I think from all my years here, the experience I've had, you got to move forward with a closed meeting with legal counsel on, do you have to honor that contract or not? And it was already board approved as an interim. Because then we would have clarification, is it a temporary thing where we can hire somebody tomorrow, or is it not, by his interpretation of the contract language? Contract now?
Well, that said, thank you, Larry. I will withdraw my motion at this time to form a subcommittee in favor, and make it, should I make that? Or would you like to make that motion?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I will make a new motion to say that we.
So you're going to
will-
withdraw your motion?
I just, yep,
Okay.
I did.
It's
Yep.
withdrawn.
It doesn't need a vote.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Okay.
I will make a new motion that we, and please help me with this, fellow board members. Make a new motion that we table this discussion to the next meeting, at which point we will have a closed and posted session of a closed meeting and have opportunity to discuss with our legal counsel the ramifications of this. That's wordy.
The motion is to table this discussion until the October 11th meeting, where you would like to,
25th.
oh yeah, I'm sorry, the 25th. Well, no, October 11th?
No.
Today's the 27th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good Lord, did I lose some days?
I'm sorry.
Table to the October 11th meeting, and where you would like to have a conversation and move to close that meeting to discuss personnel matters, if needed, okay?
And just sidebar quick, Steve, are we able to have legal counsel at that meeting?
We'll work with legal counsel to get this prior to.
To that, okay, that's how that works.
I think the motion is to call a closed meeting at noon with legal counsel right to that one.
Okay.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if that's appropriate to say.
So-
I think you're right, Steve.
So Kim Parmeter moved to table the discussion to the October 11th meeting and then have a closed meeting after legal counsel consultation?
Yes.
To interpret language.
I guess,
to interpret language of the
Contract language.
can I ask just a question, just out of the order that this has gone? I tried to make a motion in between that, and I feel like I just kind of got glanced over while we rescinded a motion and then made a different motion on top of that. I feel like I was trying to propose a motion, and then to do so, I had to do that, so I'm not sure how the order of that plays into that. You know,
I think you're correct, Madam Chair. You held the floor.
I mean, I guess I asked for clarification, and so I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, if that's the case, I would go back and change mine. I think that needs to be handled in a different fashion, Madam Chair, because
Okay.
every step of this process matters very much, and for you to come back with a motion to dismiss all conversation about it is highly inappropriate, in my opinion. And I think that we have a motion on the floor, and we're looking for a second at this point.
Okay, I'm not dismissing any conversation. I'm just saying that I had tried to make a motion myself, but
We need a second before we discuss.
all right. All right, so Kim has a motion to table this item until the October 11th meeting, and she'd like to call a closed meeting at that time. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Lynn. Is there any further discussion?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, just to clarify what's happened, and clarify the motion just to try, if you don't mind. You're moving this on to October 11th meeting, and you're calling a closed meeting with, as I understand the verbiage of the motion. I think you want to call a closed meeting if Attorney Rec allows you to do that.
What I have, it says Kim Harding Reader moved to table discussion to the October 11th meeting to have a closed meeting and discuss legal ramification of a personnel meeting after legal counsel to interpret the contract language. Okay. Kim Parmeter moved to table the discussion to the October 11th meeting to have a closed meeting and discuss the legal ramification of a personnel issue after legal counsel to interpret the contract language has been determined.
As long as, you're moving to close the meeting at that point, you need to make sure that that's okay to close the meeting.
If necessary, maybe.
If necessary.
I'm wordsmithing a little bit. And the board can vote to do this, or the board can vote against this motion. If you want a different vote. I just want to make sure that we don't call a closed meeting without the appropriate legal advice saying we can close it.
I'm not trying to can add it in the end.
Yeah.
I think that can be part of the motion.
I just want to be careful with that. You know, like I said, you vote against it.
And that would be my recommendation if you'd like to add that to your motion, Kim.
Pending if we need that.
Yeah.
Okay. You got that, Lynn?
Kind of.
Okay. You want to reread it?
All right. Kim Parmeter moved to table discussion to the October 11th meeting to, you want if necessary there?
If necessary, following legal consultation regarding this personnel. And it's perceived. Yeah.
Can't we do it again? Kim Parmeter moved to table the discussion to the October 11th meeting to have a closed meeting if necessary per legal counsel to discuss the interpretation of contract language. Yes? No? Start over?
Well, we would discuss this issue, the interim superintendent issue, at the closed meeting. because of concerns from board members regarding this being a personnel matter. And just for continued discussion, this is the first I'm seeing this. Lynn has some very good points in there. I know some of these thoughts are, yeah, it kind of wrapped my mind around as well. It's a kind of a Superman job. I think John's done a pretty wild job of taking care of things the past week or so here, for sure, in the dual role. But I think a lot of what Lynn has shared here is absolutely worth taking a deeper look at. Whether we move to an interim or we choose not to, I think is still a good conversation to have. But with respect to what Joe is saying, I think, yeah, we can take a pause on this and make sure that everything is being done the way it should be to proceed forward. So, but there's a lot. Lynn has clearly spent hours on this. I think it's to support our fellow board member here, I think it's definitely worth our time to take a little bit more time to look at this. Thank you.
Okay, I need to get the language right. Kim Parmeter moved to table discussion to the October 11th meeting, and after advice of legal counsel, potentially have a closed meeting? I need to know how to word this.
In closed meeting if advised by legal counsel.
To potentially have a closed meeting if advised by legal counsel regarding the interim superintendent or regarding contract language? Okay, so let me read this one more time. Kim Parmeter moved to table discussion to the October 11th meeting to potentially have a closed meeting if advised by legal counsel regarding contract language.
Does that seem good to your motion? I just want to make sure it's what you're
Yes.
going to reflect. Okay.
Thank you. I think that is good.
Okay, and I seconded, and so that's where we are.
All right. Any further discussion?
I also think our board member who's absent this evening would be interested in weighing in on this conversation as well. Which again, goes to, I think, our need to table this.
Okay, and Jen, you feel that the motion that you were going to make is now,
There's a motion on the table. We need to move on one motion. That,
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
I have thoughts, but that's okay.
Okay, so then, are we voting on this motion?
If we're done discussing? Okay.
Well, we can't discuss this now. We have to do it in a closed meeting, so we really don't like to say anything else.
No. this-
Even though I have opinions. But I'm
That's
good.
fine. All right. All right, with the motion on the table and a second, the discussion has happened. Everyone's been provided an opportunity. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
Nay. 3-3.
Okay, I heard Larry, Kim, Jen was where were you?
Nay.
No? Okay, so we have a tie.
Motion failed for lack of majority.
Thank you. Which I guess then leads to further conversation if we will, or do we just let it die? I think the board needs to decide on whether or not we seek to look at an alternative interim superintendent. Whether or not we discuss the duties and such, does this board desire to do so? And so I guess my question becomes then, I guess that is my question, so to make a motion out of that, I'll make a motion that the board just trying to carefully word this as it comes out of here. Does the board wish, or, Yeah, yes, thank you. You heard my question, and so I'm just trying to phrase it the right way.
I think I hear you saying, you're making a motion to move forward with the current interim superintendent until it goes to superintendent.
Madam
Permit.
Chair, if I could have the floor for 1 minute.
Yeah, please, Joe.
We're meeting with MSBA on October 15th.
18th.
Say it again?
18th?
18th. To pursue or get our training on pursuing a new superintendent. This is going to come awful close to where we're talking right now, as far as timeline. I'll say this, Madam Chair. I don't want to spend my time discussing whether I think our current superintendent can do the job or not do the job when it's been going on for a minute. We don't know, and we need to pursue a new superintendent, and we need to find the right one and a good one.
All right, so I guess I'm going to start here. To provide more conversation and dialogue, it's hard for me to phrase this because this is a motion that's it's tricky. So I guess I'm looking for the board's vote on whether or not to move forward with formulating a subcommittee to continue investigating the hiring of interim superintendent.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we stand with our interim superintendent and not move forward with seeking another.
So Joe's motion is to continue with our current superintendent, interim superintendent, and just stop.
Not seek a
Not seek.
replacement interim superintendent.
Okay. Okay.
So move to stay with the current interim superintendent and not seek a replacement superintendent. Interim, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I see what you mean. I was lost for a second. Okay.
Okay, so Joe has a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Larry. Further discussion?
I think that after the previous vote, it's clear that there are board members that have some additional questions about this. And again, I would reiterate that we are missing one of our board members this evening. I think a vote in favor of that motion would be inappropriate, to say the least. I think that we should have some further discussion, and we should, if we're going to take a vote on something of this caliber of importance, I think we should have all board members present. Otherwise, I think you should vote no.
I think it's hard to know what, from one week to the next, whether or not someone's going to be here. I don't know that we've ever actually taken something off the agenda in the past. You know, I considered, you know, Amy had politely asked that we move or pull her item. In doing that, that was her item. That's something that she wanted on the agenda, and I respect that. I don't think that the dialogue would have been the same because it's her item.
Right.
You know, so I think of that a little bit differently. But we've never pulled an item because Larry wasn't able to get off, you know, the truck, or that Joe was stuck on a train. I don't think we've ever pulled an item for that.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think if we just had a 3-3 vote, clearly there's still some concerns and questions, and it's definitely a territory worth exploring.
Could we at least wait until the October 18th meeting and discuss with MSBA when they come up for our training?
But then we'll have the experts right here.
Our legal counsel here.
Well, can't we run our questions by legal counsel in advance of that? That gives us almost 3 weeks.
It says on here that, on this note that Lynn passed around, that we don't need these people to come up here and do this training. So I thought we voted on having them come already.
They are coming.
Yeah, they are.
They're coming on the
Oh, yeah.
18th.
That's
I think Lynn's note is meant to say that this training is separate and a different process. This is moving forward with our permanent superintendent for
Right.
next school year, and that we wouldn't need this training to hire an interim.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe has a motion on the table is to continue with our current superintendent and not seek a replacement interim superintendent. Has everyone had a chance to offer comment at all? Okay. We can bring it to a vote. All those in favor of Joe's motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
Okay, so I heard, if you'd like to do roll call, you certainly can for clarification.
McDonald,
I was, yes.
Parmeter,
No.
Peterson, no. Podgornick,
Yes.
Shelton, Ward.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4 to 2.
Okay. Moving through discussion items, reviewing let's see, we're holding on F until October 11. Item number then 11G, social media report card. You'll see that in your packet. References, let's see here, Facebook, hits, and, sorry, I'm frozen here. And Instagram, and looks like Twitter. And there's also a comparison of how we rate with other districts of our size. Lucky number 7. Okay, anything else to add, John, with the updates when they provided it to you?
No, I think our social media coordinators and our company really hired and those things.
Thank you. Public relations update, many items from the Proctor Journal, Duluth News Tribune, Fox 21 News, and WDIO regarding back-to-school items and John's retirement, and then some school vandalism linked to social media TikTok. Okay, reports, item number 12, school board committee reports. The Community Education Advisory Council report is in your electronic packet. Thank you, Lynn, for your attendance there.
I'd like to thank Crystal. She's the one who sends out the the notes. I didn't do those notes, so I need to thank Crystal.
The fun.
She does an excellent job, and it was one of the highlights of my week. So thank you.
One of the super secret things is that I learned that the Hermantown people, their board members had always gotten them, and here I am just taking all these notes, and Crystal goes, "You just want me to send those to you?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, thanks."
Did Ted read and approve them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, item number 13. Are there any other reports that I might have missed? Have activities met at all, Joe? No? Okay. Slide check there. I don't think, oh, nothing. School board comments and observations under communications, number 13. School board celebrations.
I would like to talk about the event at Bayview last Friday night. For those who attended, I don't remember how many hot dogs were served, but there were over 300. The fire department came. They created a rainbow. The kids were running through the water. It was an absolutely joyous event to see our community come out and enjoy that. It was so well planned and so nicely done. So the staff and administrators need to be commended for their work. It was unbelievable. And pie, thank you.
You're making pie? You're going to do all the pie selling for the all-night grad party. I knew it, Diane, I knew it. Yes. You have a really, really active pie group. Both schools do. Very nice.
And actually, I'd just like to add to that all of our schools have a lot of good things going on, and it's good to hear about the good things that are going on at our schools. We need to celebrate those things, and it's great to see the little kids getting involved in all the gardening and getting out in the woods, and it's just fun to see.
I attended the advocacy tour as part of MSBA last Wednesday with District, I think, 11, pretty sure. And it was really interesting to just share perspectives of just all the things across our district regarding school board issues and just where different schools are in relation to coming back to school from the, distance learning pandemic phase of this. Just good sharing. A lot of good questions about, questions of what they should be advocating for at the legislature. Is the current funding enough was the question. And I'm like, no. It barely takes care of what we need to take care of. And so lots of sharing about that. Talking about just our HR struggles, finding the right people for the right positions and things, and we aren't alone. If anything, just being able to share that was a priority for us, is to be able to offer our employees competitive salaries based off of the funding stream from the formulas and all good things, and just the struggles that we're all having coming back to school this year. It's a different animal. So Diane Matthews from Hermantown attended as well. Always good to see her, just virtually even. So, and I know Jill Lofald wasn't able to attend from Duluth. She had another obligation, but usually she's on there too.
Oh, the Trust Edge, yes. The Trust Edge met last Monday night, and for those who attended, it was, again, another successful evening. Our next one is scheduled for November, and I will get the information out to people.
Thank you. Any other school board comments and observations? Larry's digging holes over on Almac Drive. Got an update for that, Larry? Okay. Probably right on schedule, huh?
we'd like been on the ground a little earlier, but everybody's schedule didn't work.
Sure. Well, thanks for clearing up some time for that.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Student liaison board member comments.
I don't really have much to say. I know there's a lot going on in students' lives right now, and we're all just still trying to get back into the 5 days a week again, school, but I think generally everybody's happy to be back, and we're having some fun here and there, and we have a lot of fun things coming up for the rest of the school year, so I think that we're all just excited for that.
Yeah, like Sydney said, it's just exciting to be back again. It's been a pretty heavy week this past week, but looking forward to next week. We have a lot going on. As co-president of the Spike Club at Proctor, we have a lot of fun things planned. Like this Sunday, we're having a bonfire. We're having like dress-up days that we actually get to have this year. And we're having a really fun pep assembly, and we're doing fun activities all throughout the week for at least within school. So it should be really exciting for homecoming next week.
So when is voting taking place for court? Do we know?
I just got a text for the link, so I just put my vote in.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten an email, or Sophie hasn't either, so I don't know when they're sending that out, but it did say that voting closes Thursday morning.
So you all get to vote on one person, and then it's finalized, and it's all next week then?
We get to nominate people right now, so we choose 5 girls and 5 boys, and then probably re-vote once the nominations are in.
I think nomination ballots go out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Unless you're Sydney.
Yeah, I get all the text messages, like I'm a parent or something, but I'm not mad about it. I still read all the updates.
Final voting will be closed Tuesday, so that they have it solved for Wednesday.
Great,
After
thank you.
the students put in their top 5, we'll figure that out.
Oh, great. That sounds like fun. Looking forward to a good homecoming week. Awesome.
And is that the hammer game?
We're hoping.
Okay.
So it starts at the bonfire
Okay.
Sunday, and goes all the way through next week then, right?
Yeah, and there's powder puff on Sunday as well.
All right, okay. Interesting. All right. Thank you for the update, ladies. Any township or city communications? All right, nothing here. Item number 14 is a motion to adjourn. Is there one?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second? Oops, thank you, Larry. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
I did have a city communications,
Oh,
if I might, Madam Chair.
sure.
Our Mary Murphy, Representative Mary Murphy, is chair of the redistricting committee, and they've gone through all 8 congressional districts. This Saturday, Friday, September 30th, I believe, is the last day to submit testimony on redistricting, and it's very important to keep communities of interest together. Right now, Grand Lake is up on the range. We certainly don't want to see our district, our city, fractured any more than it is. Duluth is looking for approximately 5,700 people. And as it is, Bayview is more Proctor than it is Duluth. So I would encourage people to submit testimony. If you would like to do that, send me an email, and I could get you a link to the individual who will be accepting that testimony. Thank you.
And your email?
Pardon me?
And your email address?
Jake@proctormn.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Benson. Okay, back to the motion to adjourn. Is everyone still there? A motion and a second? All those in...
it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Opposed at 8:37 tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Will our next generation be? What will they achieve? At Proctor Public Schools, we see great things in the future as we create an environment to educate, engage, and inspire our students to seek adventure, gain knowledge, and make a difference. What do we see in the next generation? We see greatness. Proctor Public Schools. Don't just plan to graduate. Graduate with a plan.